Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tessie and today we're going to be recreating a top. The down part is going to have this shape while the top part is going to be having a yoke. If you're new to the channel, you're welcome. If you're yet to subscribe, kindly do that and let's get right into the video. So I have my shoulder line, I came down to the chest line, bust point, under bust, waist, and my top length. So for the top length, if your top length is 20, you need to add like 2 or 3 inches extra to it. So what I did next was to take the neckline 3 inches, came down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope, and then curved my armhole. So I'll place my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 and I'll add half inch to it. So the nipple to nipple divided by 2 is 3.5 plus half inch, that's 4 inches. I chalked and connected it into a straight line. So what I'll do next is to check what I have from here to this point. So I'll use my tape to do that. So what I had there was 5 inches. I'll divide it into 2, which gave me 2.5. Then I chalked it there and I'll use my ruler to connect it to that line. So what I'll be doing next is inserting my neckline. So for the neck depth, I'm going to be using 3 inches. So I chalked 3 inches and connected my neckline. So the next thing is to place the darts. For the dart intake, I'm going to be using 1 inch on this side and then 1.5 on the other side. So at the underbust, I placed 1 inch at that point and then 1.5 on this other point. I connected it into a straight line. After doing that, on the bust point line, I'll come down by half inch to eliminate pointiness around the bust area. So I came down by half inch and then from the under bust, I'm going to be connecting to that half inches line. What I'll do next is to chalk how deep I want the yoke to be. So from the shoulder, I came down to 7 inches. Then at that 7 inches line, I'm going to be coming in by 0.75 on both sides. Then what I'll do is connect that line to the bust point line. So what I'll do next is to give this center front a sweetheart effect. So the effect is just going to stop at the chest line area. You can come down more depending on how exposed you want the chest area to be. After doing that, at this other side, I'm just going to curve it into the armhole. So after curving it into the armhole, I'm just going to blend the lines together. So we are good to go. So I'll take out the areas I'll be taking off. After doing that, I'll place my measurement and replace back the dart. So at the chest line, I replaced back the dart. I placed it at the chest line area and added 2 inches for my sewing allowance. At the underbust, I'll place my underbust measurement divided by 4. I'll replace back the dart I took and I'll be adding extra 2 inches for my sewing allowance. At the waistline as well, I'll place my waist measurement divided by 4. I'll replace back the dart I took and I'll also add 2 inches for my sewing allowance. Then at the top length, I'm going to be placing my hip measurement divided by 4. So you place your hip divided by 4, replace back the dart you took, and then add 2 inches for the sewing allowance. So I'll go ahead now to connect my lines together. So we're good to go. So this will serve as the yoke in case you want to add yoke to yours. So guys, my client wanted a yoke. So the yoke is starting from this neckline. Then I'll bring it down to this point. But it's not starting directly on this point. So I'll come up here by 0.75. That's how my client wanted the yoke to be. So I came up by 0.75. Then from this point, I'll connect to that line. So I'm just going to slant to that point. So we're good to go. I'll label this as my front yoke. So guys, what we'll do next is to come down at the bust area by 1 inch to take the bust dart. So I came down by 1 inch and then from that point I will slant all the way to the bust point line. So I'll take this area, we're going to be taking it off. So I label my lines as you can see. After doing that, I'll go ahead now to cut out my pattern. Guys, if you've watched the video to this point and you're yet to subscribe, kindly do that and let's get right back. So guys, after cutting out the pattern, this is what it looks like. I'll quickly take out the bust dart. So you can see me slashing to the bust point area, then I will use my paper tape to hold it in place. We're good to go with the front. So in case you don't want a yoke, you can go ahead to take out the yoke and just make yours and off shoulder. Guys, for the back, in case you want to add zip to yours, you can chalk 2 inches before chalking your pattern. So for the pattern, I'm not adding zip to mine. So I have my shoulder line, I came down to the chest line, waistline, top length. I took my neckline, slanted my shoulder, and then curved my armhole. So what I'll be doing next is placing my bust measurements divided by 4. Then I'll be adding 2 inches for my sewing allowance. At the waistline, I'll place my waist measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inches. At the hip line, I have my hip divided by 4 plus 2 inches. I'll go ahead now to connect my lines. So what I'll do next is to take the dart. So for the dart, I'll divide my nipple to nipple by 2. Then I'll chalk what I have at that point. So I have 4 inches. I chalked 4 inches at that point and then connected it into a straight line. So at the top length, I'll be coming in by ½ inch on both sides. So for the dart, I am taking ½ inch on both sides. Then I'll slant it all the way down to the chest line. So what I'll do next is to take the depth of the neckline. So I'm going to be using 1.5 inches. Then I'll use my curve ruler to curve my neckline. So since I'm adding a loop to this, I'm just going to be taking some inches off. So for this, I'm just going to be taking 1.5 inches off. So I chop 1.5 inches and connect it into a straight line. So I'm going to be taking out these areas. I'll be taking it off. So guys, I'm sorry my phone stopped recording at this point. So what I did was from this point I came down to 2 inches, and then from that 2 inches line I curved to the dart leg. So as you can see, so at this point I'm going to be attaching my buttons. So I'll label this as my back yoke. So I'll go ahead now to cut out my back pattern. Guys, we're good to go with the pattern drafting. As you can see, this is what the front and the back looks like I said initially, if you do not want a yoke, you can take this off and just make it an off shoulder like this. So guys, I've gone ahead now to cut out my fabric. So I'm going to be using this Duchess. As you can see, I've added my wording and my paper stay on the front. Then for the back, I just added paper stay on the back. So what I'll do is to quickly join my front pattern together. So you place them this way, join them right side facing each other, stitch using ½ inch. I'll do the same thing at this point as well. Then for the back, I'm just going to fold it into 2 and take my dart of ½ inch all the way down. So I'll repeat same thing here. I'll take the dart. So after doing that, this is what it looks like, as you can see. So guys, I have a detailed video on how to perfectly pad a bustier. You should check that video out. So what we'll be doing next is shaping the down parts. So for the shaping, I'm just going to fold my fabric into 2. After folding my fabric into 2, I'm going to sketch out how I want the shaping to be. So you just have to be creative while sketching. So it depends on how you want the shaping to go. So from this point here, so I came up by 2 inches at this point and then just sketch. You can see the sketching. I'm just trying to sketch it all the way down to this joining. So at this joining part, I'm just going to bring it down and then slant it to the center front. So you just have to be creative while doing this. So this is how mine looks like, as you can see. So guys, what I did was I came up by 2 inches at this point, and then from that point I just sketched and then took it down to the center front. So this is what it looks like. So I'll quickly cut out the shape. Then after cutting out the shape, this is what it looks like, as you can see. So this is what mine looks like. So we are good to go. I'm going to use the front to cut out the lining. So I've joined my lining, as you can see. I added paper stay on the lining piece. So this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to place my front on my lining to get the exact shape. So you place them right side facing each other, just as you can see me do. And after placing them together this way, I'm going to use my scissors and then cut out the same shape I have. So I'll go ahead now to cut out the same shape. So guys, we're good to go. I'm just going to sketch out where I'll be attaching the boning to. The boning is going to be on the lining piece. So I chalked the areas that I want my boning to be. Then I use my bias to form my boning casing. As you can see, I'll attach it on the lining. So guys, for the back as well, we're going to cut out the exact shape we have there as well. So you place the front on the back and then you cut out the same shape you have. So guys, after cutting out the same shape, this is what it looks like. As you can see, I'll place the back on the second back. Hope you understand what I'm doing. So I'll place it and then cut out the same shape I have. So it's very, very simple. So I'll cut out the same shape that I have there. So this is what the back looks like. I'll go ahead to cut out the back lining as well. Then I'll be attaching my boning on the lining piece. So for the front, I've gone ahead to cut out my yoke. So this is what the yoke looks like. So after cutting out my yoke, I'm just going to place the yoke on the main fabric, right side facing each other, then stitch using 1/2 inch. I'll repeat same thing at the other part. I'll place it and then stitch using 1/2 inch. So guys, I've gone ahead to cut out my yoke. As you can see, for the back, I have my yoke. I'm going to be using my bias to pipe the neckline of the yoke and then I'll attach it on the back. So I'll place them and then attach. So guys, for the front, I've added my boning on the lining as you can see. So what I'll be doing next is joining my front and the lining together. So I'll just go ahead to place the yoke inside and then attach the lining on the main fabric right side facing each other, then stitch the top part using 1/2 inch all the way down here, then stitch the down part using 1/2 inch following the curve. Make sure when you're stitching you're following the curve, then you notch all the edges and then you flip it to the right side. Then for the back as well, I'm going to be adding the lining to the back. You can see the boning channel on the lining, so I'll place them this way. After placing them right side facing each other, I'll quickly stitch using 1/2 inch and then stitch the down part following the curve and then bring it out. I'll do the same thing for this other part as well. After doing that, this is what it looks like. So quickly, I'm going to be attaching a boning at this edge. So I'll place my boning inside and then stitch it very close using the matching thread. So what I did next was to quickly use my eyelet machine to put the rings. So after attaching the rings to the fabric, this is what it looks like. So what I'll do is place them right side facing each other and then pin them down, then stitch the shoulder area using 1/2 inch and then shape my dress. Then after shaping the dress, go ahead, cut out the sleeve of your choice and then you attach the sleeve to the dress. So I'll go ahead now to do that and then shows the end result. So guys, this is the outfit. This is when she came for the first fitting. We're here to put trimmings on the dress. Hope this tutorial was helpful. Please do not forget to subscribe and like this video. Bye.